and it makes you feel a way, and that's, you might call it love, happiness, bliss, whatever. And there's also of course, there are negative feelings, of course, too, or energies, if you can call them that. But we seek the positive ones usually. And so if we seek them only in the material aspect of things, the only thing that might happen is that we are going to get confused, because where is my feeling going to come from a material things? Well, you seek one, and when it disappears or it goes away or it changes, like everything does in life, you're going to have to seek it again. And you won't really be totally content with things until the day you die. So looking through another lens is important, and understanding that material things are there, but there are also things that we cannot perceive that are there, such as a radio wave, such as the signals that come from the satellites from one phone to another. The empty space is just full, and physics just say it's full of information, of waves, of things that are just as real as your atoms and cells are, and brains and bodies. We just cannot perceive them because our senses just five senses just are not constructed to do so, or are not conditioned to do so. But they're there still. So why are not feelings ideas, or not ideas? Yeah, they too, but feelings and thought is what I meant. Why is it not also there? Well, it is also there. It is also an energy form. It has a pull. It has certain quality, electrical, magnetic quality to it, just like any other wave has. It has frequency. It has wavelength. It has color too. It has many things. So the world is much more vast than we understand. And if we understood that, we would pay attention to feelings and to thoughts and ideas, and just the senses that we get that we usually don't pay any attention to, because they're just senses. Senses are not, measurable. Are they too important? Well, they're more important even than many other physical things, because they're much closer to your true and more inner core, in a sense. So spirituality, what it does is deal with the senses. It doesn't deal necessarily with all the physical. It does, to a certain point. You need to keep alive. Your body needs to be healthy. It is part of life. Yeah, sure. But it doesn't get stuck in that. It deals with many other things. And that is spirituality. It's not one only way of looking at things. It's not one religion, one dogma, one thing. That is not spirituality. Spirituality is personal, and it's collective too, and it changes according to every person. So it's just another label to put into new exploration, and this permits human growth, permits human knowledge of itself in many, many different ways. Just look, like an X-ray would permit you to see if your bones are doing okay, or your certain organs are doing okay. This spirituality is like a lens that permits you to see if your mind and being is doing okay in other senses, because otherwise you wouldn't have any way of being aware of it. So this is pretty important if we want to be healthy people and happy people, because it pretty much allows us to seek really in a lot vaster ways. However, even then, even when you open yourself, you might not find the answers you're looking for, because again, there's not the form that you're used to seeing. There's not the form that you're used to wanting. So there might not be even what you're expecting to find. There might not be even a sensible answer which just fits into a concept that you can understand with words or with other concepts and ideas, because it is another realm. Just like you can touch a radio wave, and you always want to touch things to get a sense that they are there. You cannot touch these feelings, maybe, or these kind of senses you get when you go deeper, and you might want to, but you can't, because it's not their nature. So actually changing your own paradigm, your own structure of understanding and perceiving is important to manipulate these and understand these things. Understand in some different way, I mean, maybe. And what is this? What is the inner things, the inner reality, the inner expression? Is it something like the outside world that we just can't perceive? Well, it might be, yes, sure, it could be qualified as such, but there is something about it that changes, though, because Just as right now we can see any object you want and it is there, and sometime in the future it won't be there anymore. For some reason it will change. In fact, your own body cells change year to year. I mean, either it's one organ or the brain or the whole heart or the whole body and skin, and everything you know about your physical self is not the same than it was last year. In fact, every cell that you have now is made up of external atoms and things that were outside in the universe and cosmos a year ago and just got into your body now, and you're constantly exchanging information and atomic information and electricity with everything. So physically we are not the same that we are a second or a year ago. So where am I? What am I? What is it I? If I am changing, if my body is not the same at all, if any object in your life just changes, you're not married to the same ideas you were before. You don't have the same living place probably. You don't have the same job probably. You don't have the same ideas or beliefs or feelings or anything. So what is it that changes? If the world is just a free energy exchange, which I'm not saying it isn't, in a way it is, but if it is that only, if it was only that, then why is there a constant, which is I am born, I live, I experiment, I love and hate, and eventually I go? This is this I. Whether we usually get a picture, a mind picture on it, and that's why we might start to want changing, because I'm not necessarily my body, as I said, is going to change and grow older, or whatever. And my ideas, is it my ideas, my political views, my philosophical views, is it something like that too? Well, in a sense it might be, but then it isn't again, because those two are really changing all the time. Is it the people I love? Well, they change too, and their ideas too. So who am I loving really? And yes, there is a constant that somewhat is their presence. It's present all throughout the change of external things. And that present is what so many try to understand. The essence, the who am I, the what am I here for, that presence that is just constant throughout your lives and your awareness. It might be called awareness or being or I am or consciousness of some kind, just to label it in some fashion or form. But yes, it is kind of it is kind of tricky, because you try to understand it, yet you're understanding your own ideas and you're understanding your own images of things and yourself and concepts. But are you understanding the reality? You're just understanding the shape it takes, the many shape it takes. But how to understand that constant, that experimenting, that is all throughout the experience, because that somehow doesn't change, and somehow it is there from the time you're born till the time you're dead. And you can give a scientific explanation to give that it is just a conjunction of functions and cognitive functions, and different parts of the brain that each have a yes, all that is true. Yet it is the same. Every part of your brain is not the same, cellular wise, atomic wise, energy wise. It is materially not the same than it was 2 months or 3 months ago, maybe, or 1 year ago, certainly. So if it's not the same, then what is it that I am constant? I am still here. I still understand. The information is still there. Yeah, that might be communicated just like a computer, thing. But then again, where is it? How can I understand it? Because I am still me. I mean, if I wasn't still me, I wouldn't mind just dying and going and flowing through the universe as a free flow of energy. Yet I'm still here, limited to a certain perception of myself and things. And spirituality then is about understanding this tricky aspect of ourselves and things, this ungraspable and formless aspect of things. It is formless because it is not. You cannot give it the form you want it, because it always changes. It is nothing that you can see outside, because that always changes. It is no idea that you have, because that also changes. Somehow it is constant, and that constant has no form. It is permanent. It is there. And what changes is when you give your attention into other aspects of yourself, such as the physical and the emotional and the intellectual, conceptual idealization of yourself and things. Sorry. Then it will change. You will no longer be constant, because you will again be into the flow of that physical or vibrational thought process of energy, because thought has it must have an electrical pool. It must have a somewhat a vibrational pool, just like every matter and material on the earth and the cosmos does, gravitational and to some degree or whatever, and polarity, and repel it repels also, and it attracts, and everything that any object can do. Thought must do it too, and light does too, and sound does too. It's just part of the same thing. So when you give attention to a certain thought process or a thought model or conception, you're pulled into it in a certain way. And this is a way of explaining it that I heard from Eckhart Tolle, and it was really it's a good way of putting it. Really, you get pulled into the thought, and you follow it like a dog would follow a scent, and you get lost in thought, and you get lost in thought process, and this leads to that, and to the conception of things, and John and Joe, and K and K, and everything is either a name or a physical image or an attribute or an idea, but it still has a quality that is mutable and changeable. So how can you find happiness really and be plain, which is what you want, if you're just constantly changing? Well, then again, there's always the I that seeks happiness. The I is always the one that seeks to be whole. It seeks to be whole. It seeks to really strive for nothing, or just be blissful or be whole in itself, without the need to go for something else, because I want this and I want that. I'm not saying it's wrong to. I'm just saying we're getting too lost in the following the sense of thoughts and material things. It is part of life, of course. We have to do things. We have to move. We have to change. It is a process too. But if you get too lost into that, you won't be able to come out of it and have clarity over what thought process you want to do, where you want to go, and what you want to do with your life. You'll just go, you'll kind of be like in some sort of city, and you don't know where you're getting at. So what you're doing by going back and just trying to get to a point where it is just you perceiving, and perceiving anything that goes and comes, and you just perceive. Something perceives. You don't have to understand it. You don't have to think I am perceiving, because the moment you do that, then you're again following a scent, which is I am, and then the word perceiving, which implies other concepts, and then perceiving what, which implies other concepts. Again, you're inside the city. Just feel yourself and feel your senses first, and don't interpret. Just let's not interpret and give a dictionary, because then what happens is that you get confused, because everyone has a different dictionary, so you won't be able to communicate in a pure and aware true way, if there is such a thing. You'll just be communicating in your own personal language, and everyone so on, depending on your definition of things. So interpreting things is alright. There are certain words that are similar, maybe in English and Spanish. That's why we permit some communication between, different people. Yet it's not the same. So if we want to really not interpret and be a universal and global understanding, we would have to start by trying not to interpret things. Just trying to perceive them as they are. In whatever way they come at you, just perceive them as they are, and then perceive yourself as you are first. Because then again, you might just get pulled again into the way of wanting to perceive everything outside yourself, but never yourself. We have to start perceiving ourselves. And even in scientific and Western culture, there is psychology, and psychology is the scientific or more objective part of spirituality. Because it is Western, and it is practical and objective, and it is it deals with many physical things and physiological processes, but yet psychology in its core, it's about this. It's about getting to perceiving your own feelings, your own ideas, your own body, and getting through it, understanding that there are only manifestations of and different parts of yourself. Everyone has fears, desires, ideas, likes and dislikes, and everyone has many things. But are you those things? Those things change. So psychology is about getting to know you.